Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Everyday Heroes podcast. Today we have Orrin Benford, and he is someone who you might resonate with if you are a parent who is raising a child who has medically complex needs. Now, let me walk you through something. Orrin's life completely changed when he realized that his daughter had medically complex needs. It's not written about, there's no manual to give you to say, hey, this is what needs to happen. You as a parent need to navigate that on your own. And you need to figure out, no doubt, quick, smart, what needs to happen, who needs to speak to who, how do you need to help your daughter or your son be able to thrive. And that's not always easy, especially when you are navigating a medically complex situation. So Orrin is an amazing creator and has created an app, the Indi app, and it helps parents navigate exactly that. It helps them navigate the medically complex world that most parents are navigating on their own without any assistance, and being able for a variety of different specialists, doctors, nurses, tests, all to be in one place so everyone can be up to date. Now, this isn't an easy feat, and I know Orrin has been up against challenge after challenge trying to make sure and refine this app to the best of its ability, but never put it past someone who has lived a life of being a carer, right? Those people will walk to the end of the earth for their children. And I love that kind of passion, because that's when we see the most amazing businesses created, the most amazing entrepreneurial projects that are invented. And we need it because there are more and more children being diagnosed with medically complex needs all the time. So, Orrin, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. Okay, so let's get into it. So, if you can just share with our listeners a little bit about your journey and what's happened with Indi and where did it all start?
Yeah, so I'm originally from the UK, fell in love with an Australian girl a few years back, and we moved out to Dubai for visa reasons, and co-founded a tech company in Dubai in health and well-being, did some really cool things, made some really stupid mistakes. I had a lot of fun. And then during COVID, we had 3 little kids. Which was a bit crazy, and like, we need to live near grandparents. So either UK or Australia, like, we're going straight to Melbourne. So flew over here and figuring out life and parenting 3 kids under 2 at the time. It was a challenge, but it was a challenge we were kind of rising to. And then it was the day after Indi's first birthday, the 22nd of December, a few years back. She had a seizure. I don't know, was it febrile or afebrile? Still can't remember. I just remember being at Monash Children's, like, we're in our Christmas pajamas, sending pictures back to England of, oh God, this is what Christmas looks like this year, ha ha ha, all that. And we even had a selfie outside of it and everything. But little did I know that was the first day of a new, I don't know what word to describe, like harrowing, traumatic roller coaster, a new chapter in our lives. For the next 18 months, I spent 18 months like banging my head against a brick wall for someone to see us. Whether we were talking to a GP, a neurologist, or even just trying to communicate with family, like there was something up with Indi, because seizure 1 turned into seizure 2, seizure 3, a bit of tiptoe walking, and the stuff moved from being interesting to like, no, there's something up here. And I'm a bit of a scientist at heart. She's an identical twin. Like, I had the perfect control study. Like, they were going in different directions, but people just weren't hearing us. And I just remember sitting in our neurologist's office 18 months ago thinking, I've paid another $400 here, but we're absolutely nowhere. But what's worse is we've put a 2-year-old girl through everything, like sedated for a brain MRI, ECG, blood tests, like you name it, we have done it. And everyone keeps telling us early intervention is key, but we've entered a system that's not set up to deliver early intervention. So I gave myself a few days to be angry. I was really, really angry. But then thought, right, I'll park that. Now I need to do something about it. If we can work out what the problem is, maybe we can solve it. And what I put it down to is a data and communication problem, in that when you're a parent of a child with complex needs and you sit in front of the GP, your neurologist, the emergency room, anyone, you're asked to recall off the top of your head months, if not years, of data around your child. And with the best will in the world, you do it, but there's memory recall issues, there's bias, there's sleep deprivation, and you create a really dirty data set. And then you hand it over to a healthcare professional who has their own filters of time pressure, parents telling stories, and guess what? Rubbish data through filters. No wonder you're getting out the other side like rubbish. So I can do something about this. I've got a bit of a tech background, so I hacked something together that pulled together everything around my daughter Indi. Started off with what's in the healthcare system that I have legal ownership of, the data around her medical tests, her notes, doctor's notes, and everything. But then there's stuff only I have as a parent, the photos and videos on our phone, the nursery incident reports from the Kinder app, the time log conversations that my wife have had. And I pulled all of that really fragmented, scrappy data together, and then leveraging AI, normalized it all. And we went to see a new pediatrician. And when the pediatrician said, "Hey, what's up with Indi?" instead of rambling for 20 minutes, he just said, "Here you go," and had an AI generated medical summary report around Indi in language and structure that the pediatrician wants to see, with the source documentation underneath it. And she spent 2 minutes reading it, and she just looked up at us and said, "Okay, cool, I've got a plan." We're like, oh, for the first time in 18 months, someone has a plan. And then as we then navigated other parts of the healthcare system into genetics and into NDIS, into allied health, speech, OT, behavior, special needs schooling, mainstream schooling, private education, the whole time as parents, we had the power because we had all the data. And now we had this crazy tool that allowed us to communicate effectively and advocate for her and get her the intervention that she so desperately needed. So it changed the game for us. So I knew that it was a tough challenge to be a parent carer, but until you're in it, you don't realize how many people are in it because it's not talked about. Like, unless you're in it, the conversation doesn't take place. So when we did some research about it, found out that 1 in 5 parents go through this. Like 1 in 5, whether it's neurodiversity, genetic conditions, like something else. Well, that's crazy. And we kept interviewing parents. They were just telling us the same thing over and over again. And then we're doing like design sessions as we started building the app. And like, okay, we've got 20 people in the room here. Hands up who's got kids. People put their hands up. Hands up who knows what I'm talking about here. And it was always more than 20%. Like, wow, this is crazy. This is such a big problem. The conversation's not normalized. So you've got people suffering. And when I say suffering, like people really, really suffering, and no one's solved for it. The healthcare system have tried a few times, but they've got no actual incentive to solve for it. So now parents are going to solve for it. Technology is caught up to the point where we can do something about it. So that's what we're going to do. So that's how this all came about, and that's where we are right now.
You're so right about like parents not understanding any bit of a journey when it comes to a parent raising any kind of neurodivergent child, right? It doesn't matter. If you are raising a neurotypical child, there's no way that you can even empathize what that feels like, because it's so far removed from your state of being. And not that I'm getting angry at that, because you just haven't had the experience. And it is time, we surely at this point in time with AI, with so many things on offer, where technology is now, that we can have exactly what you are creating to help these parents be able to take it to the next step. And you can't tell me, I have been in plenty of situations where I've had to speak to a number of different medical people where, if you are sleep deprived, there is no way that you will be able to recall that information. They've actually done studies to show that, especially for mums who have newborns, if they were tested on their recall at driving, and it showed that the mum's recall when they were driving, if they'd already been sleep deprived, was that of a driver who had been drinking, and it was over 0.05. So if you take that and that test, that study, and look at how a parents are supposed to recall and give this information, which is so relative and so important to the people that are supposed to help their children, how can we always get it right? It'd be nearly impossible. So I want to ask you, what was the changing point? At what point did you feel like you had to do something different?
It was when we were in the neurologist's office. I just remember I was actually away with work when Indi had her brain MRI, and like I've had loads of MRIs before because I played sport. My knees have been shot to pieces, but like as an adult, like I'm pretty cool with it. Yeah, go and scam money. I don't really care. But then when you see a 2-year-old little girl who can't communicate with anyone, like we don't know what's going on in her brain, hates needles because she's had harrowing experiences in emergency rooms because every time we take her there, they won't listen to the context as to what she actually needs. Like we're going to have to put her under to have a brain MRI. Like this is too much. This is too much for a little girl. And I don't know if I'm just very, very stubborn. I'm sure we can do something about this. I just felt every time we went for a consultation, it was a fight. And I was always willing to fight in a nice way. I was always willing to do it. But I thought it shouldn't need to be like this. And I sometimes joke like, Indy was lucky to be born to me because like I have some skills and passion and techniques. But not everyone is that lucky to be blessed like with a parent that can figure it out, and nor should they need to. And then I think as we then started to navigate the road ahead, I'd get dropped in the odd Facebook group here and there. And the stories that you see every day in those groups, like I think it's one the mental health issues for parent carers are 5 times worse than the non-parent carers. And like I just see those groups, I'm like, I would hate to see the suicide rate of those groups, especially the dad's groups I'm in. I'm like, this is horrific. But it also like, how do I not know about any of this stuff? I remember when we were growing up, every year we would maybe do a bit of a woodwork project to build a toy to take to the special needs school. But the special needs school was that thing over there that 10 people in a town of a couple of 100,000 people went to. That was other people thing. It's like, no, 1 in 5 parents like that. We need to do something about this. So yeah, that was really the changing point for us to solve for Indy, our daughter. Like we had no choice because we weren't going to make it through as a family if we didn't do something about it. And then that realization of how big and how deep the problem was. And it's only when you get thrown in the thick of it and you hear those stories. I still do it every now and again. Like at nighttime, I'll go onto the Facebook groups and just some of the dads telling their stories in there. It's like, yeah, we just need to get back to work. Like people need help. So, and that's enough to give you the motivation to do something about it.
Yeah, I've definitely read my fair share of stories. I've had clients to share their stories, and it is truly heartbreaking. And, it makes you have a deeper sense of appreciation of where you are with your own children, but it also makes you fight even harder for the people who aren't as lucky, like you said. Every child deserves a life where they can thrive. Like, I don't care what the situation is, every child deserves that. And so we need to get better at providing that. What does that look like, and how can we go about that to make sure that that is not just a figment of our imagination, but it's something that we can actually achieve? So just share with the listeners now, so what does life look like now? How has it changed? What does it look like?
It looks like a hour by hour, day by day, week by week roller coaster of highs that you didn't even realize should be a high or were ever going to be a high, and lows that you didn't even realize. Father's Day last week was crap, horrible, terrible time. Had a terrible few days, several breakdowns, not just Indy, me. It was really, really, really hard. Coincidence that it was like, "Are you okay?" week as well. It's like there was a lot of people checking, like, "Are you okay?" And that's just the life we live now. Like days are hard, weekends are a challenge. We don't look forward to weekends in the way that we ever thought we would as a family unit. And then there's crazy moments of joy. Like yesterday, I took Indy to drop her off at the special school she goes to, and I pulled her out of the car and just put her on the pavement. I was like, right, I'm going to hold her hand and we are going to walk in today. She's never done it before. She always needs to be carried. And we got there. Like, we made it in, and like the celebration, what have we achieved? We've walked from the car into school. Like, she's nearly 4 years old. Like, but that felt so good. And then when I went to pick her up, they normally have to bring her out in a buggy, but they walked her back out. And they're like, what's happening? What's happening? I was like, wow, okay, cool. This is good. So we get some amazing highs as well. But it's just a roller coaster. Your nervous system is absolutely shot to pieces. Your child can't regulate, which means as a family unit, you can't regulate, and figuring out what that looks like. What does it mean for her siblings? What does it mean for your relationship with your partner? It's just a completely different world. It's not like a slight variation on the family dynamic that you expected. It's a completely different one. The way you plan every day, the way you plan a weekend, when people talk about holidays or Christmases, like your priorities and where your focus is extremely changed. And it's not well, you don't know, is this a temporary thing? Is this a forever thing? Is it somewhere in between? There's just a constant state of anxiousness, apprehension, and everything. So when I give myself the chance of a bit of compassion and zoom out, and I look at it and say, okay, we have actually made a bit of progress over the last year, and that's good. But creating that space and that time to zoom out is a massive challenge in its own right. So every day is a challenge. Every day, not some days. Every day is a challenge in a unique, like slightly different way, and we're figuring it out and kind of figuring ourselves out along the way, and what that looks like. And then also trying to figure out what life looks like outside of the parent-carer dynamic. Building a tech startup is not the easiest thing in the world. My wife's a full-time student studying to be a midwife. That's not the easiest thing in the world either. And family in the UK that would love to help but just physically can't. It's a challenging dynamic. Every day is a challenge, and some days are good and some days are not good, and that's just life now.
So you talk about giving yourself grace. Can you share with us, like, what does that look like? How does that show up for you?
When Indi is regulated, it's quite easy. Like, you can live in the moment and appreciate that and appreciate like the role that you've played in that. But that's when she's regulated, which might be 5% of the time. The rest of the time, it's really, really difficult. I think what we've started to do is like build out our own strategies individually and collectively. So the best thing I can do is go for a long run. So my wife and I, she's the same. So we tag team at the weekend, and one of us has got the kids, the other one goes out, and vice versa. And just that time to, I don't know, get rid of the toxins in your body and give your brain a bit of space to process and go through it. That's a big thing. We try to find time in the evenings, but the reality is by the time you've got Indi to sleep, you're gone. That's not an experience. So we're just trying to be as proactive as we can about it. And I guess the best way to do that is speaking with either a professional or someone else with lived in experience, and just feeling seen is probably the biggest thing. Like this, just before this call, I had a call with someone from the Carers Gateway and just had half an hour to share my experience of the last couple of weeks, talk about a bit of stuff. And said that the reason it helps is because I'm doing this at the earlier time in the day, whilst I've still got something left in the tank. Doing it at the end of the day is not going to work for me. So I guess it's just being proactive with it. And when you speak with someone like this, or in a situation where there's other parents that really do get it, that's probably when you really give yourself the time to take a step back, reflect, and um, be a bit kinder to yourself about the journey and the role that you've played in that journey, I think.
Yeah, there's so much associated with giving ourselves that grace. Sometimes we find that parents won't allow ourselves, especially mums, won't allow us to give ourselves that grace because they don't even feel like they can give themselves permission to do so because we've always got to be on, right? We've always got to be ready to anticipate that next thing, that next, challenge that's around the corner. And so we never allow ourselves to just take the foot off the gas pedal and just be like, okay, I need to do this in order to come back, reset, and keep going stronger. But if you don't do that, you will eventually burn out. And I will put my hand up and say I've burnt out multiple times, but I've also seen so many others burn out as well. So making sure that you make that space for that graceful period, however that looks. If you have to schedule it, great. If you have to bring someone in, a carer out from external sources to be able to care for the children so that you can do that, it's so important because those kids need you guys more than they need air to breathe, right? You are their lifeline. And if you guys go down, they don't know where they stand. And so that's where it becomes so important. So speaking about relationships, what is your relationship? What does it look like with your wife? How does that feel?
It's definitely changed. Like, you can't dress it up. It's not the same as um, what it was. It comes back to what I was saying earlier. It's a challenge. It's something you have to be very proactive and conscious about. It's not, if you just let it be, it'll be the first thing that drops off, because unfortunately on the priority list, other bits just have to, keeping people alive and regulated, just sit above it. So it's something you have to be really proactive about. There are times that we can probably smile and laugh and think, yeah, we're nailing this, like we're figuring it out, and that's cool. And then there are other times where, like, we've just clearly missed the mark for each other, and it giving ourselves a bit of grace and empathy in that as well, is important. We try and make the most of the little opportunities that we get. So on a Thursday, we drop the kids off early at daycare, and we both get the train into the city together, which is a half an hour commute is nice. And last week we were making Are You Okay cookies and stuff. We did that together. So we do what we can. And yeah, that's it. We do what we can. It's different. It's definitely different. I hold on to a bit of hope that we will. I don't think we'll find a way back, because that past just doesn't exist anymore. But we can find our way to, like, something really good, for sure. Sometimes we're just going to need to stay in the game as a team, and we just have to remind ourselves sometimes that we need to be a team in this as we go. So when you give yourself that compassion, take a step back, like, how are we doing? We're actually doing really, really good. Like, we're a really strong team. It would just be really cool to be able to focus on that relationship, and everything. It's just hard because you try and look at it like, what kinds of things do you want to do? Oh, how cool would it be for us to go away for a weekend? Brilliant. It's not going to happen. Not anytime soon. Okay, what about if we go to the cinema? Okay, we've got 3 kids. One needs constant support. When's that going to happen? So it's trying to figure out the things that we can do right now, and live in that moment. And then when you do get the opportunity, like, to really pounce and take it, because it's not going to come up every week. So we do our best with it. I think we just have to keep reminding ourselves that we are on the same team with this. And the challenge is, you alluded to it earlier, like, we're very open with the fact that biologically we're made very different. Like, Ali, my wife, she carried these kids in her tummy for a long time, and that biologically does something to you that I can't even begin to understand. So being able to acknowledge that and let her process that and any guilt that she's carrying and stuff that I can't even begin to imagine. I think it's being able to acknowledge that is one thing, but also I can't I can listen, definitely, and I can empathize, but I can't speak from any lived experience. So that's where I definitely push her to, okay, tag me out and tag someone in. I don't care who it is, but you need someone with a bit more understanding than me to get what you need right now. We try and push each other on that side, and she's the same with me in that, like, yeah, you need some friends. You need to go out and hang out with some people, and if there's ever the opportunity that it comes up that I can go and do something socially, like she tells me I'm taking that chance. So yeah, we're good. We push each other hard.
One thing I wanted to ask you, and this comes up a lot with my clients who are navigating similar things in their relationship. Do you and Ali have a communication diary? Very similar to what you would expect with obviously your child going to school, a space where you guys can write in that you can either respond to each other's questions or you can just be like, this is how I'm feeling without, because I know how hard it is. I don't know about you guys, but I can't have a conversation without my like detective 9-year-old daughter being like, beep, 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 like what's going on? Like, and so it's very, very difficult to try and have a conversation with my husband without, divulging too many details and her sort of like trying to catch on. So having a communication diary to be able to just, and it could be text, it could be whatever, to just share information with. I don't know, just a thought, but
yeah, we don't have anything formal, but now I know that's a thing. Definitely something we should look at. We do lean on our WhatsApp chat for sure. Like the conversations can't take place in any constructive way while the kids are there, regardless of whether we want them to or not. And then, like by the time you get to the end of the day, it's not going to be the most constructive conversation anyway. So we probably have our best conversations on WhatsApp like in the morning, like she'll have done kids drop off and I'll be at work, and we can actually have that time for that open, honest conversation, and everything. And we keep going back to like, oh, it'd be good to have this conversation face to face, but then when do you have it at the moment is definitely a challenge.
No, definitely. So what's your role in this space now outside of being a carer and a parent for your daughter? What does it look like?
I'm really trying to open up the conversation. I don't feel like I'm an expert in this space in any way. I'm making it up as we go and learning from the experts. But what I do know is that when you share openly, you give other people permission to share, and sometimes that's all they need. So as we've been building out this company, I've got a weekly or fortnightly Substack blog that goes out, and I'm very transparent, probably to my detriment, but I share it all. And what I find is every time I share from the heart, that's when the messages come in from people that by me sharing, I give them permission to share, and that's sometimes just what they need. So I feel like there's that's definitely a role I can play and continue to play in this space, and specifically from a dad's standpoint, because it's not talked about anywhere near enough and normalized. And if I can do anything to help normalize that chat, the bit that I really want to see change is when I share and I get those messages back or open up the conversation, it's not just coming from a good place, but it's actually constructive, versus what I actually see. And I don't know your experience on this, but what I actually see in some of the Facebook groups is toxic, and parents will share. And I'm looking at it thinking, like, you're in so much pain right now. And there are certain things that are going to help you, and there are certain things that are going to make this worse. But I can just tell by the nature of what you've written and the nature of the replies coming in, this is going down. And how do we change that? So that's something I want to do consciously as an individual, But then from a business standpoint, like we can be that change vehicle, giving parents the power to take control and protect their mental health as they do so. So even with the app right now is at we're really at MVP level, like proper basic, but it's already taking the mental load off of parents and supporting their mental health. And when you do that, it allows them to show up better for their kids. But then as we continue to develop the app, we're very keen to make sure like this is being built for parents with lived in experience, and we want parents to come along for the ride with us. And we could build a million new features within the app, but actually we want to build the things that people really need. So if we need to build the parent to parent lived in experience social presence within the app to give them that safe space, like that's what we're going to build. If actually parents are really struggling with which direction to take their kids in from a therapeutic standpoint, and they need a co-pilot to point them to the actual people they need and match them based on needs, okay, we can build that. So that's the role that we really want to play from a business standpoint. By going parent first, it's a harder route to go, building a tech company, going parent first. But we know like everything you choose to do is hard. So pick the hard that you can have the biggest impact on. And that's something we truly believe in. So whether it's people within the company that we're employing, or our advisory board, or even the WhatsApp group of mums that I have, that every week I'll just chuck something in and say, I need your opinions and stuff, like building it with people with that lived in experience and listening is something that we can do. So then that means we can deliver the solution that people really need.
Oh, I love that so much. When we do take that approach, that family first approach, that parent approach first, it makes such a difference, because at least it's lived experience that we're taking into account as to what this app needs. So talking about the app, where do you mentioned that some people are actually starting to use it? Where can people download it, find it, use it, buy it?
If you head over to projectindi.com, you can click, I think it still says like sign up for early access, but it will take you really straight away to create an account and get going. So right now you can use it as a web-based app, or you can download it from the the iStore. I reckon we're 2 or 3 months away from getting it to where it meets my personal threshold of there are 3 clear problem spaces that we want to solve for parents. Once we get there, then we're really going to let the parents and the data tell us like where we're going with it. So yeah, people can jump on it. If people want to just crack on and start using it and never speak to us, great. If people want to give us live feedback of what they see, they like, they hate, they've found, great. If people want me to jump on and do a half an hour onboarding call with them and watch them, like that's where we learn the most. So yeah, we really want people that want to take a chance to be involved. That's where we're at. And then yeah, from there, once we hit that 2 to 3 month mark, anything can happen. We haven't announced it yet, so you've got a bit of an exclusive here that we just closed a significant investment round last week that's given us the firepower to really go hard at this. So yes, we're a tech startup, but we've got some serious firepower in our back pocket. We've just made offers to three new roles that are going to be based up in Sydney. So we're already building fast. It's about to 10x in speed. So now's the chance, I guess, for parents. If you ever thought like you get the chance to really be involved in the development of something that you really need and have like your opinion listened to, now's the chance to get. And a couple of weeks ago, we got our first crazy like data insights back from the AI model, where we had already always guessed or had a hypothesis like, why would parents actually come to us? And now we know. Like, we've analyzed the whole thing. We now know how many parents like were asking questions around like observations they were seeing versus how many wanted to know about specific conditions versus how many people wanted to help prepare them for their next GP session or their next speech therapy session versus how many parents just needed someone to rant to versus how many parents wanted to talk about how this was showing up for their relationship or their siblings versus how many were in panic mode and needed to get to the emergency room. Like, we now know the more parents that jump on and actually use it for what it's been built for, the faster we can learn. The faster we learn, the better we build to make sure we deliver for what parents need.
Congratulations. That must be such a good feeling to get that financial backing, and well done for you for all the hard work that you have put in to even get that to that point. So well done. But I wanted to ask you, and I'm sure that parents have also got this question, is the app only for parents raising medically complex children, or can it be for anyone raising a neurodivergent children? Like, what's the cutoff?
Yeah, so there is actually no cutoff, and there's technically no cutoff. If you want to use it for yourself as an adult, like, go for it. The reality is where we find our sweet spot as to where we can deliver the most value to parents is where there's more than two people in the village of care. So where you've got maybe a pediatrician, a speech therapist, and a school, or a speech and OT and a school, or behavior support or whatever. And that largely shakes up in neurodiversity, genetic conditions. I'm probably at the extreme end from a care standpoint, the complexity of our care. We can offer a lot of value to more mainstream parents than where I'm sitting in that. So yeah, that's where we find our sweet spot, where we can add the most value, where there's multiple people opinions, where the structured communication and moving of data really makes a massive difference to parents' lives. But as we build out, as the technology continues to improve and the feature set, really we become the default app for parents that care. And the reality is, where we can help parents the most is when they've had that first observation or that first bit of apprehension that maybe something's off. And if you look at, in Australia, you have your 6 monthly checkups with the maternal health nurse, up until 2.5, and then there's an 18-month gap, or is it 2 and then there's an 18-month gap. That window for us is generally what we're hearing is people being told, okay, I've noticed something, we'll just keep an eye on it, keep an eye on it, keep an eye on it. 18-month gap, it's too late. You've missed the window. That's where we can really make a massive difference. So yeah, if you're a parent and you've spotted something and you're concerned it might be insert diagnosis ABC, or you're just not feeling great about something, that's the point where you jump on, because that's when you really need it. You've got all of that backlog, all of that data, that when you go to that first session with the GP or the first pediatrician, or you're having your first session with a speech therapist and you've got everything there for them, that can change the game for you massively. And the bit is early intervention is key. So if you can make the very first opportunity at early intervention really powerful, that it can have lifelong impact on the child's development.
Absolutely. And you're not just wasting those sessions because you're still trying to catch up and play catch up on what the information needs to be shared. So I know I get that. One last question before we get through to rapid fire questions is, what do you wish someone had told you in the very beginning? What do you wish that they could have, what kind of wisdom could they have shared with you to help you on your way?
About 18 months in, oh no, it was, I can't even remember how far in. I remember we had a session with our pediatrician. It's probably like the 4th session, and we were looking at like the care team, and we were on like, okay, we've got 14 months left on the autism diagnosis wait list. We're 6 months away from the genetics team. We're waiting for the heart thing. I don't know what it was. And the pediatrician said to me, Orrin, I just want you to be ready. Like, we might not ever figure this out. I'm like, what do you mean? So, like, there's every chance we're not going to figure out what's causing any of this. And when she first said it, it kind of it hit as a bit like, no, that's not fair. Like, I'm doing the things, like we're doing the tests. But then the more and more I let it sink in and process, and you go through the full grief cycle of the life that you're never going to leave anymore. Coming out the other side of it, it actually helped me get to the point of acceptance for what is. And then when you give yourself a chance to live in that acceptance, then you can create all kinds of cool possibilities for what the future looks like. And I remember I had a conversation this morning, like, what is it that really, like, what's the bit? Are you worried about she's never going to be able to do this, or she's never going to be able to do that? And I'm like, no, I actually don't care about any of that stuff. Like, if she's never going to talk, she's never going to talk. If she's going to sleep in our bed every night for the rest of our lives, she's going to sleep in the rest of our bed for me right now, as long as she's happy and regulated. That's everything to me. It's the dysregulation from her that then creates a whole dysregulated family. That's the really, really tough bit. But when I look at her and we go down to the beach, I'm trying to work out what's going through her brain. I'm like, she's lucky. She doesn't have to watch the news later. Like, she doesn't need to realize how messed up this place is until she's ready to, if she decides she's ready to. And so, just kind of just helping someone get to that acceptance point. But it's different for everyone. Like, the time it took me to work through the grief cycle, completely different to the time and journey my wife is going to take, and it's not linear either. You think you've worked through it and you get chucked straight back in the middle of it. But yeah, any bits of wisdom, whether it's from a professional or from a parent, that can help you on the journey to acceptance, has to help. Unfortunately, it's not black and white. That, whilst that landed for me, probably isn't going to land for the next 10 people she sees. And they actually need to hear or see something or experience something else to get there. But yeah, anything that can help people get to acceptance is what they need. Because once you're there, then you can start creating some cool stuff. It's still going to be hard. It's still going to be a challenge, but you can start.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to look at that as because pediatricians and therapists and specialists, they say things sometimes off the cuff. And for some people, like you said, it lands really well and it moves them to the next place. But for some, it's catastrophic. And it is, and I'd love to know if it moves men further along, but if it moves women as well further along, or does it actually hold women back further? Do you think it helped Ali hearing that, or do you think that it hindered her?
I don't think it helped her hearing that for the phase that she was in at the time. That didn't help, and I think, yeah, a lot can be said for. I think it's slightly different with allied health professionals because they're every day living it. Your speeches, your OTs, they're living. They see it, like they're the biggest advocate for kids, other than the parents themselves. I feel like the the people in the more primary healthcare stuff, the pediatricians, the hospitals, are like, we had a session with our genetics counselor a couple of weeks ago. Like, oh, she must be the cleverest person in the world because her bedside manner is horrific. And like, unfortunately, it's going to cost her. She's going to miss the things straight in front of her because it's not a genetic test result. It's a story from a parent. And actually, the story from the parent is going to help her with what she needs. And she's going to miss that. And I think a lot could be said for helping. If you're in a role that is working with parent carers and children, I think you need to invest a bit more time in understanding and empathizing to really understand how your language and your way of being is going to land from them, because it's not black and white. Doctor to doctor, you can probably say those exact words, but doctor to sleep deprived parent carer who's going through grief and everything, you might just want to check in with yourself. And if you're blessed that you don't have any lived in experience, go out and find it. It's not going to take you long of speaking to friends or asking someone. Go out and find a bit of lived experience, because the second you do that, it can change. And we know that one of our advisory board members is a GP, and she's great, but she has lived in experience through her own daughter. That lived in experience makes her the GP you want to go to if you're going through. It just changes everything. So yeah, I think there's definitely a lot that can be said for helping healthcare professionals get that experience.
I think that all doctors and pediatricians should really go and do like a Vanessa Edwards course where she just learns how to what your language has so much power. That'd be like going up to someone who's got a cancer diagnosis and be like, okay, buddy, you're going to be dead in 6 months. Like, good luck. Godspeed. Like, you would never say that to a cancer patient. So why is it okay to say such horrific things to families who are already struggling with the most important person in their life, their child? Like, they just need, and it will be, it's on my to-do list. It's on my to-do list, Orrin, to go and educate these people that you cannot say these things. Okay, is there anything that you would like to share before we wrap up and go to rapid fire questions?
Oh, no, just follow us on Instagram, read my Substack, and get involved. Honestly, we're building out loud. We are building transparently. There are no secrets here. And if you're someone that works in the allied health space as well, we're building something for you as well. We just haven't told anyone about it. So if you want to know what that is, drop me a message and I'll happily jump on a call and show you and then ask you for all of your opinions.
I love that. Can you share with everyone what your Instagram and Substack tags are?
The Instagram is at the Indi app, or my personal one is at Orrin Benford. And the Substack is I will share on my Instagram. I can't actually remember the tag now.
That's quite all right. Okay, let's get down to the 5 rapid fire questions. What is the biggest lesson you've learned from raising Indi?
That this life even exists. I had no idea. Absolutely no idea. I remember we got told, okay, you might want to seek an occupational therapist. And I laughed and I said, I don't think she's got a job. I don't think she can work. Like, what do you need an occupational therapist for? Like, I'm that far removed from it. I didn't even know these jobs existed to help parents, let alone the life existed.
Absolutely. What's one value you hope Indi always stands for?
Kindness. Yeah. I don't know if that's a value actually, but yeah, kindness.
That's okay. No, it is. That's a value. Yeah, yeah. What is the hardest part of balancing caregiving and entrepreneurship?
The time. The people glorify building a tech company that you should be working 7 days a week. It's not physically possible. Not physically possible. So being able to build leverage and be okay with giving what you can give is an enormous challenge. But I think when you crack that, then it puts you in a better position anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. A piece of advice that you would give another parent or carer walking the similar path?
Talk to people that get it. That's it. That will help you more than anything else, I think.
100%. And when you think about the future, what gives you the most hope?
The good moments that we have and the smiles and the word that comes out every now and again. I don't have the hope. I don't think that a life is going to happen, but a feeling like, okay, that feeling we had in that moment can at some point move from being 1% of our lives to more than 50% of our lives. That's my hope.
I love that so much. Orrin, thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate you coming on and sharing so vulnerably. It has helped so many people and will continue to help people because we need this app. We need this ability to be able to take exactly what you just said, put it all into a location, a one-stop shop, and that we can share with everyone and everyone's on the same page. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I loved it.
Great. Talk to you soon, Orrin. Bye.
Bye.